Black Cat Lounge is sponsored by Beacon, a home for those who have a passion for filmmaking and the unusual. Paraware, apparel for the action-seeking paranormal investigator. Dragonfly Art and Soul for all of your magical, metaphysical, and spiritual needs. Mystery Control, your go-to feed for science, magic, true crime, the paranormal, and so much more. Hey everybody, Tim Shaw here, and I am so thrilled that you guys are stopping by tonight. You know what? Where else would you want to be? It's raining. It's raining. It's pouring. The old man is snoring. It's raining out there. It's nice and dry in the Black Cat Lounge. So thank you for stopping by. Hey, listen, before we go on today, and I bring in this, my guest is amazing. She's just amazing, and I'm just like so thrilled. I'm tickled. I could giggle like a little schoolgirl. She's on today, but we'll talk to her in just a couple seconds. This coming Friday, please stop by the Forsyth Tavern in Cambria, New York. I am going to be speaking about one of my favorite subjects, Victorian morning rituals. That's right. All proceeds, now it's $35 a head, but all proceeds go directly to the maintenance and preservation of this beautiful 1808 building. And I want you to go and understand that sometimes we should be giving back. And preservation is something that I feel very, very strongly about. And also, I'll be doing a couple more presentations there over the summer and maybe into the fall. We'll see what happens. But yeah, please, this Friday, stop by 6 p.m. And I'll be bringing some of my relics. I'll be bringing some photos and some relics and some stuff, and we'll talk about that. Okay, let's get to my guest. My guest tonight is amazing. I love her so much. She's an entrepreneur. She's an occult practitioner. She's an author, sought after speaker. Oh my God, she's an unbelievable instructor, seance worker. She has had recurring roles on the Travel Channel's hit TV series, Ghost Adventurers. She is the host of The Witching Hour, vice president of the internet sensation Paraflix.com. Parax is my old network, Paraflix.com. And she is the headmistress of, are you ready for this? UniversityMagicus.com. So please, everyone, boys and girls, children of all ages, gather closer. For tonight, we are in the presence of greatness. We are in the presence of my good friend who I love so much. And we're just talking off the air that we have to get together, even though we're on different coasts. We have to have an adventure. So please welcome the White Witch of Hollywood, the one and only Patti Negri. Patti, thank you for being on tonight. I am so thrilled.
I am more thrilled. That was such a nice intro. I am honored. Thank you. I'm like, wow, she's fabulous. Who is she? No, thank you.
You are fabulous. You are, and I'll tell you where we bonded in the men's room of the Detroit airport with the godfather of the paranormal, Johnny Zaffis, during a tornado when we were stuck there.
And how many women can say that? Me. Just me.
That's it. You're the only one. You're the only one. And I think what we should have done is we should have had a group photo taken, because
should have had the men's room.
I don't know if we want to have the three of us standing in front of urinals. People might be talking, but that's another story for another day.
It's okay. No, and I do have a copy of the picture of us looking like corpses in the morgue because it was so cold, and we brought in the little wheelchairs and we put our legs up on it because we were stuck there. There was nobody else there. So that, That's how we bonded. So
It's true. It's
good
true.
book.
Although we did meet the year, I think wasn't it the year before we did the seance inside the world's largest planchette?
Yes, yes, we did. We were two little heads popping up at the hole in a planchette. Classic and elegant as us. Yeah.
It was great. And it's those times that make my travel and going out there and doing events worthwhile, because of the fact that it was so unusual. It was so great. And I got a chance really to work with you because we had never really worked before
No.
together. And I thought it was just marvelous. It was just great. And I thought it was a great mesh between the spiritualist side and and the craft side. And I think it just worked out perfectly. And I've gotten nothing but, really great compliments. Not so much for you, but not for much for me, but almost all for you, of course.
No, for you. We did meld very well together. It was,
Yes, we did.
the
Yes.
magic of being in the middle of a planchette together. Again, how many people can say that?
It just makes you warm inside being inside that planchette with you.
You are my go-to guy for almost anything magical. I don't even know if you know that. It's like I remember a few years ago, Vulture City. I mean, I used to doing seances. I'm used to doing galleries and all this stuff. And all of a sudden, I see they're promoting and table tipping by Patti Negri. I'm like, what? I don't tip tables. I know it's that spiritual. I've never tipped a my dining room table weighs 400 pounds. I've never even attempted. Oh my God. What do I do? Tim, teach me how to table tip.
It was so cute. You were so cute. And I said, listen, I'll send you my notes. If you have any questions, please let me know. And I mean, a lot of people don't realize there's a technique to it, and it's not that hard. And it's so funny. It's like I told you, table tipping is the beginning of the intro. When I was a kid, it was an intro into physical phenomena. So they wanted to get you used to not being afraid of things happening. Plus, it was a way of communication. And I remember saying to you, listen, if I can do it, if I can do this, I know you can excel at it. And I heard you did. I heard you did a great job.
Yeah, we had that table flying all over that outdoor patio, flying all. And again, I kept changing people, and it just kept flying. No ways to cheat, no knees to, and all thanks to you, because otherwise I would have just gone, I can't, I don't know, I can't. And
But that's that's what's so great about what we do is if I have a question about something, Patti, can you help me? And you're like right there, and vice versa. And I think that's what the fun of and the adventure of what we do is. And even though we only get a chance to see each other for brief periods of time, and even though during those brief periods of time, it's even briefer because of the fact that we're actually working. People are like, oh, it's so much fun. You get to hang out with these people. No, we have to work.
We're signing things. We're talking. We're sitting in a planchette. Yeah, no. But
it's, so it's just wonderful that whenever I have a couple minutes to hang out with the amazing Patti Negri, I love doing it. And by the way, our good friend Patrick, he saw you up at Pennhurst.
Yes.
He's like, he loves your new book, and he said to say hi and thank you so much he's just a great guy. And
he's a great guy.
And I got to tell you something, Patti, just going to put a little bee in your bonnet here.
Okay.
He makes writing planchettes with the pencil. Just letting you know. So later on this year, I just bought, I think 4 or 5 of them from him. And later on this year, I'm going to have a class on it. So
I love that, actually.
Just to let you know that he does make those, and I love his work, and he's just a great guy. So, and right now,
good luck with those. I don't know his. I can't wait. I'll definitely buy one of his. But what am I? Because spirits seem freer. They can, number one, write in different languages, because spelling seems to go out the door.
Yes.
Dead for some reason. It's like, is their name really Jean? And they could draw. I've had amazing things. So that's awesome. So tell him he has a customer.
Okay, I definitely will. I think you just did, because he's probably going to be on when this show is aired. He'll be all thrilled. But he's a great guy, and I just he's within the Western New York pagan community, and I'm very, very happy that I got a chance to meet him over the course of this springtime. But anyway, let's talk about you.
Okay.
You have an amazing project, an amazing book out that I just received today. And here it is. Dollcraft. Look at that. First of all, it is a phenomenal cover. I love the cover. I'm sorry about the glare, guys, but this is a great book. I love this. And it has, now you guys know that I'm a collector. Patty, you know that. And I learned things in this book that I had never knew.
Really?
Yeah, there's some things. Yeah, there's some things in this, but we'll talk about that. There's some things. We're going to talk about the doll funeral. I had never heard of that before. That just piqued my interest, and I thought, you know what, this is phenomenal. But guys, do yourself a favor before I even start the interview tonight. Order this book. Order it. You can get this on Amazon, correct?
Yeah, everywhere.
Okay.
Yeah.
Buy this book, please. I highly recommend it. Anybody who is interested in haunted dolls, Poppets, voodoo dolls, anything to do with it, this is your go-to book on it. This is just not haunted everything. This is specific, topic specific, and this is something that is great. It's an easy read, and it is comprehensive. So please make sure you guys buy this.
Thank you, Jim. Wow.
Well, no, come on. You know, Patty, I've been kicking around a long time, and I've got a lot of unique things down, as you can see behind me. A lot of unique things in my collection. And dolls, to me, always got a bad rap because of the fact that I have this haunted doll. I must get at least 2 or 3 of those emails a week. What can I do with this? Let me get rid of this. I'm going to send it to you. And and
we go, okay.
Yeah,
I know. Don't
and
tell
then and then when I have too many of them, I just kind of I farm them out to a friend of mine who has a collection, and he loves everything I give him. Oh, I got a good one for you, Patty, before we start.
Okay.
So I had a little juju doll that I picked up, right? I got this little juju doll, and when it was in my collection, it was in a case. So one day I'm here in the office and I hear bang, bang, and I'm going, what the hell is that? And I look over and the juju doll had been like sort of in the corner of the case. And I'm like, that's funny. And I see all these frames that I have like some dolls in knocked over. And I'm thinking, how the heck did that happen? So I moved the stuff around, and something in the back of my mind said, the juju doll wants to see out. So I moved him to the corner so he could see out. Like, he could actually watch TV if he wanted to, So never had a problem.
Wow.
So I get to a point where I had to go, and, I said, I got so much of this. I don't, I hate the part, but it's going to a good place. So I gave it to my friend Frank. Frank takes it to the Western Block complex, where it's a haunted location, but it's all art 247. It's a gallery. So he's got it in his office. I get this text, Tim, that juju doll moved. So I wrote back, and yeah. He goes, SOB you. He says, I can't believe you didn't tell me. I said, why? I'm not going to tell you these things. I said, you think it's going to come out of my collection? You got to live with it. He goes, I kind of like it. And he took it and he put it to a place of prominence so he could see out. Never had a problem again. So, these dolls have lives of their own.
They do. They completely do have lives of their own. Like my little Belle, my little burgundy one in the middle there, she's my prime girl. She's the one that made the cover of the book.
Mm-hmm. Love her.
But before she got adjusted, she would drain people's energy so badly. And I finally learned that she wanted to be down here with me, for one. Once we got past the draining, and I'm using rue and all these herbs, all these this stuff in the book, but it's like she wants to sit here with me. She wants to, because I'm down here all day working with people, reading, writing, talking on internet, and she always wants to be seen. The other dolls can get covered up, not Belle.
It's so funny because Each doll, I always tell people, is just like a human. It has a life of its own. It has a personality of its own. And it can be they can be cantankerous and they
Yeah.
can be loving. And
Yeah.
it all depends on the person who owns them. Now, let me ask you this, Pat.
Okay.
What causes a doll to become, and I know, a friend of mine going, "Oh, those damn dolls are possessed." It's not really possession, but what causes them to become active or reactive, or for lesser or for a better term, haunted?
Okay. Well, I think, again, people like you and me are going to draw in spirits, disembodied spirits. We just are. Or anybody who wants a paranormal world, spiritual world, magical world. So, say, if you're a disembodied spirit, and you're floating around, you want to hang out with that Tim Shaw guy because he could tip your table, and you could go into a bottle of water, you can go into a ritual knife, you can go into a bell, or you can go into something with eyes and a nose and a face and ears. I'm going to go in the face because, number one, people can read it. Like Belle's face,
I
she's over
agree.
100 years old. It's porcelain. It doesn't really move. But three people in a row will come in and one day goes, Belle's happy, Belle's happy, Belle's happy. And she's on a day, she's happy. And I'm not talking intuitives or anything, just, the plumber. And then the next day, so Belle looks angry. Belle looks angry. Belle's like angry when she was cranky about something. I mean, and you wouldn't get that if the spirit came into this little bottle
Correct.
of water or your
Correct.
other Belle. So just like a lot in tradcraft, traditional witchcraft, versus they put their familiars of one whole secta into any kind of a skull with a face, not your cat, because cats get cranky sometime. That's why there's all these skulls around, because as soon as you give something eyes, it has eyes and ears. You could whisper into it.
Now,
Yeah.
here's another a question that I get asked a lot. When we start looking at these haunted objects, is there a danger with them? And you know as well as I do, sometimes there could be.
Yeah.
What do you say to that?
Sometimes there could be. Again, that's why in my book I really stress, and I really oversimplified a lot, that it's fun to have a haunted doll. Everybody wants a haunted doll. It really is a new person, but you really don't want to have I don't like good and bad, but a low vibration haunted
Hmm.
doll, because it really can hurt you. Number one, drain your energy, make you tired. Number two, truly make you sick. And just like any spirit, disembodied spirit, ghost, whatever, that it's those dark energies that they're first going to go to the weakest, the sick person in the family, the dog, the cat, the
Yes.
children. So why do you want
Yes.
that? A happy haunted doll can still, they're moving in the case. I hear the pitter patter of feet and no one's upstairs. You're moving around a little, aren't you? But without it, making you sick. Belle, the reason
Hmm.
Belle, again, my burgundy girl, a girl, I've been collecting dolls my whole life. If I turn my camera around, I'm being stared at by hundreds of Barbies. Barbies. Not one of my
Nice.
Barbies has ever been haunted, though. It's like she's such a goddess. But anyway, this woman had Belle, and it had made her sick for 3 years, made her hair fall out, made her toddler sick. But she knew it was a beautiful doll. She saw me on, not Ghost Adventures. It was a Ghost Adventures spinoff called Deadly Possessions.
Yes.
A
Yes.
seance with Peggy the doll, which is a dark haunted, has given two people heart attacks. Zach had flown out, one of the women had got a heart attack, or when Jane Harris used to own her. So she saw me doing a seance with Peggy the doll, and she figured if I could handle Peggy, I could handle Belle. So she asked my permission and sent, and thought, yeah, I'll take her. Come on down. And the doll was so strong. This was several years ago now. I had never once done a Facebook Live before, when Facebook let me on. I have to put this on camera. I have to do this live. Um, I did the unboxing. 50,000 people watched it, Tim. Those are not my people.
Wow.
I have that many followers. I don't even,
Wow.
if I do a live now, it's like I'm lucky if I get 1,000. And back then it would have been, oh, I got 30. And 50,000 people, not me, it was Belle, and opening up. And then I got out very well wrapped, bubble wrap package, and the energy was so dark. And I'm like, this, I'm not, I could tell, and you could tell too. It was like, is it schizophrenic? No, there's a good spirit in there, and over something that's so dark that's overpowering it. I would not let
Right.
the sunset that first day I had her, because I didn't want it to get out of my house without banishing, which is not hard. You just have to do it. It's your intent. There's many methods to do it without banishing that dark spirit. And then it felt, I knew that little good girl was in there, but we just waited. But even then, that's when she was draining so much energy. I had a friend came over who has a bit of a heart condition, and her heart starts racing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
That
a little bag of roux, a little bit of this, a little bit that, and then she calmed down and became a part of the family. But no, they can be dangerous. They can harm you.
I go and I have what I do is I leave them out in the sunlight for
That's
about 3 or 4 days. I bring them in at night, of course, but 3 or 4 days, good sunlight. And that usually calms them down. And then when I put them into a case, I have 2 cases down here in my collection that I have wands of selenite. The every single shelf has got selenite on it, and it neutralizes it. And a lot of times people are, you
everywhere.
see, yep, that's
Everywhere.
it's the right way. I love that, but people are like, well, don't you have a problem with it? Don't you ever have anything? And I said, no, I never have a problem with anything, and especially the dolls, because of the fact that I think. Well, let me ask you this. Do you think that because you and I respect these objects, and I know myself, and I know you do too, but we love these objects, do you think that it affects the energy levels, the type of energy that is contained within those dolls?
100%. That is my one rule on anything: haunted objects, haunted dolls, seances, mediumship. My one rule is you have to be respectful. Nobody wants to be disrespected. The
Right.
only time I've had any big troubles, like even during seances, like when somebody burst into flames, when I got my ribs broken, it's because somebody got disrespectful. So yes, that is number one. And that you have to, and yes, you have your selenite. Now, see, I don't have them in a case. I don't even have any of my Barbies in a case because she has to breathe. So I've got it. I can't keep the darker ones in my house. So I had to banish it. And again, now I've got a beautiful little girl. I had one doll. It was a statue doll, but a doll. And all of a sudden I noticed, and it wasn't one of my loves, like my Barbies or my babies or all this. And I'm like, I'm not spending time in my office. Why? I love my little office down here, downstairs. Why? And I looked, I go, oh, that's it. It's that. That I've had it for 2 years and it was fine before, but this is why I'm not. So I feel, just being me, I just called up Zach Biggins and I go, Zach, I have a thing. It's too dark for my house. Do you want it? And he goes, well, what is it, Patty? Send me a picture. And he goes, ooh, that's a nail fetish hate doll. Yes, I want it. And I'm like, it's yours. I like went to Vegas the next day. It's in a perfect place now where nobody sleeps, no children or unhealthy people. And it started acting up that very night because I can't have dark, because I don't want to put them in case. And cases are good. If you have to, they should be in cases, but I've got a weird thing. Even when I just did this big anti-clutter
Yes.
collector TV show, he's like, your Barbies aren't in cases. She can't breathe. I don't care.
Well, no, it's true. Now, like I keep I have 2 solid cases here that I keep specific things in, and there's a reason for a lot of them is because they're questions. They were given to me, or I removed them, and they were questionable. The dolls or whatever. I got a primitive doll from an exorcist in Louisville, Kentucky. Very primitive, and the minute I opened up that box, I felt it. You could just feel it. It's like, nope. And I did my cleansing, put it in there. But the one thing that people always ask me is, do you ever have any problems? And I keep saying no, because I respect them. I love them. And I think that the energy that we put out can mesh in with the energy of those dolls. Now, let me ask you this. How can these dolls actually become haunted? Because, when you think about it, there's, they're inanimate objects, they're whatever, but they're vibratory in nature. So how can these energies, if spirit is vibratory in nature, how can they affect these physical dolls?
Well, I'm an animist. I think everything has a spirit anyway, the spirit of whatever with anything. And again, I think I think there's several ways. Number one, I think if a doll is so loved by a little girl, I mean, I still have dolls that I had when I was a baby, when I was a child. When I die in another 72 years, or whatever,
Longer than that, kid. Longer than that.
that doll may be around. Who knows? My years of having it right here, or my first Barbie from 1960, whatever, she might take on some of my energy. She might. She's had, decades and decades and decades of love. So it's like that, the smell of something. So I think that's one way. And another way, again, it's just that disembodied, call it in. And the third way is which I have really thought a lot about before doing it, is I teach people how to call in a spirit to create a haunted doll. We know how to do that, and you can do that. So I'm actually having eBay people, it's like, be a little bit wary of the seller on eBay that has 709 all haunted dolls with this most fantastic story and history and this. Like, they're a good writer, but that doll might not be haunted. It might be, but maybe they shouldn't be charging quite as much as they are for it. But so just to be careful of that in purchasing one, or how to create your own. Maybe you have because I do think, especially things that we have that mean a lot to us, have some spirit attached to them now. And if you want to call in, create something.
Do you think, now here's something that people have, I think by accident. Well, I shouldn't say by accident. I know some people that did this purposely. Taking a troublesome spirit, out of a location by bringing it into a doll and then binding the doll and taking that out of the location. Do you recommend doing something like that?
No.
That a girl? I don't either. That's always like iffy, because you never know.
Yeah.
You never know what what's going to happen with it.
And again, I understand. Again, I banished the dark spirit in Belle. I sent it away to be transmuted to nature, to wherever it wanted to go, onto its own plane, not on our plane. Otherwise, that and binding something, you're attaching to it, just like hating somebody is way worse than not caring about somebody. That's an attachment to it.
Yes.
So, and I know a lot of things that's part of like ceremonial, different kinds of magic where you box it away, the demon, and box it away, the bad spirit. But that's just not my practice or belief system.
Because I know even when you go to the Buckland Museum of Magic and Witchcraft, old Buck had gone and done something like that with a box. And when I saw that, the ick that came off of that display was tremendous. And I know for a fact that some of these dolls that these people, they use these dolls to remove whatever it is in the house. To me, that just kind of like they become, these spirits become captive. And to me, if I was in that situation, I would just grow with resentment and eventually, wreak havoc upon whoever owned that doll. And that's why I never worry. I would never do that. Okay. Now, not only do I want everybody to go out and buy this book, which I love. I love this book, but Funeral for a Doll. A few, Patti, I have never heard of this before. And this is why I love books, because of the fact that, okay, I know all the general stuff, and you have some great spell work in here and everything. But I've never in my entire life. I mean, I've I've buried things at the crossroads. I've gotten rid of things in rushing water, uh, things of that nature. I've never burned anything. But I mean, the idea is that this has fascinating chapters in it. And
Mhm.
talk about the doll funeral. I'm
What?
like, I'm reading that going,
What?
it
Well,
was great.
I do. I love ritual and I love ceremony. And I do. And funerals are there's so much for the living as much as for the dead. We know that.
Yes.
So I just thought I that should be something. If it is time to pass away this doll, why not have here's a not the way to do it, but a way to do it and guideline. The same thing I really thought hard and fast about having a haunted doll tea party. Is that too silly? But people really
No.
like it. You know?
You know what? I thought how appropriate. I just thought how appropriate because we say goodbye at funerals and wakes.
Yeah.
That's part of it's for the living. It reinforces us psychologically that there's closure.
Yes, for us.
So if you are to go and it's time to whatever with a doll, these dolls, why not do the same thing? I think it severs that silver cord between, let's say, the essence of the doll and our essence. It severs it psychologically and magically, it severs it. So now the doll and whatever energies are in there can go back into nature,
Yeah.
just like we will.
Yeah.
And we can go on and not have to worry about, well, is this doll going to come back to visit us? Or,
Right.
it's like the Annabelle, the alleged Annabelle thing, it's like
Oh my gosh.
throw it out. And next thing you know, it's still on the, it's still, it's sitting there at the kitchen table. So it's genius.
Thank you. Thank you.
Genius. It's
Again,
genius.
I like ceremony, I like ritual, and I do understand how the attachments that we get to things again, because I'm a collector. As you're a collector, we get attached. So it's like, let's do that. Have a nice tea party for whatever. Anyway.
But perfect. I loved it. I love it.
Thank
Now,
you.
there's a lot of conjecture. A lot of people get confused when we start talking about haunted dolls and poppets and then voodoo dolls. And a lot of people, it kind of just meshes into one big ball of wax. And that's not the case, is it?
No, not at all. That's why I wanted to actually put my two worlds together because we're both in the paranormal world, so the haunted dolls and all that, but we're both in the occult and craft world. And poppets are an important part of my practice. And most people are the regular people, whatever that means, don't understand. They see a poppet and they think it's a voodoo doll and nothing wrong, but they don't know what it is and what a magical, beautiful practice that can be.
Yes.
I 3 feet over there, I could reach my little puppet because I had her out for something that represents me. It has a little pentacle that I always wear on there. It has my name on it. It's tag locked with my stuff. And like, say if I fell down and hit my head, which I occasionally do, and I have a headache, puppet, I will go and stick a lovely little pin in my puppet's head and my headache goes away. I don't want to stick a pin in my head. It's for my protection. And you could do love and health and happiness and money and all those things that we do spellcrafting for. But again, what you're getting the benefit, it doesn't have complete, usually fancy ones. You get formed eyes and nose and mouth.
Right.
It has the human shape or the dog shape. And there's power in that, just like with the haunted doll. So I just went all out on the insane stuff. Edible bread, clay. It's like, okay, you want this here, corn dog. My favorite ones that I've been doing for you is very disposable paper napkin poppets because I want to be ecological always. And if you get the most biodegradable little paper napkin, and then okay, it is, and with the right herbs and oil in it, you can put that in the stream to wash down, to move it in through the water. You can
Yes.
burn it
Yes. Yes.
safely. You can bury it in earth and not be messing up the earth. So my very book is very conscious of that. Use these dolls for magic and more kinds that I could even think of as like, all right, we can do that. Let's do that.
Well, what's so funny is when I was reading about that, it reminded me of a case that I've been working on from the
Tell
early 1900s. It's a murder case, and it involved Native American Seneca witchcraft. And
Ooh.
one of the things that was done was these love letters that were written by a rather well-to-do gentleman who was having an affair with a Native American woman.
Mm.
These love letters were actually made into poppets,
Wow.
and they were buried. And during the course of the trial, they went out and they dug around. They found these poppets that had not quite disintegrated yet. So I have seen drawings from the newspaper articles of those paper poppets, and I was like, "My God, this is amazing!" Because we know that poppets are they're with the craft, and they predate the voodoo dolls,
Yes.
and people don't realize that. And automatically, and the other thing is you hit it right on the head. Poppets are not necessarily for evil. Poppets
No.
are good. It's like the juju dolls, the same thing. They're not there
Yeah.
for evil. They're there for helping and protection and all that. Now, something that I liked, of course, I'm going to go and I'm going to bring up your book again and put this up. Shameless plugs for you, Patti.
This is my first shameless. This is my first interview. I'm honored. Thank you.
Well, I'm honored you're on.
Oh.
Uh, I did not know about colors. That's
Oh.
something else I learned. And now I do know, like with the effigy of Santa
Mm.
Muerte, the bone goddess, and I do know that she wears a wedding dress, and I know that the colors of the wedding dress mean different things. But I never realized, never put it together that this actually affects poppets and what you're working with. Now, if you're looking for now, I know because I'm one of these people that's like I understand how negative magic works, bad magic, black magic, but I try not to ever use anything like that because I want to keep everything positive. What would be a great color for somebody who's making a poppet, let's say, to help someone else heal? They're going to use and Reiki is the same way. When you're using Reiki, you can use a stuffed animal or whatever, or a poppet in order to go and use absentee healing. So, what would be a great color for someone that say that you
You're
want
here.
to go and send positive vibes to, healing vibes to?
My first thought would be blue. A nice high blue is a healing color. It's high
Mhm.
vibration. It's a high chakra color, and for healing, that would be my first choice. And yeah, magic is magic, like black magic, white magic, bad magic, good magic is magic. It's what you do with it. But not good or bad, burn in hell. It's you have to live in the world you create. So why
Yes.
would you want to live in a world of evil and curses and hexes? And because everybody I know who I don't know judgments of people who go there, but they get cranky, then they get paranoid, then they get sick. It's
Yes.
weird. And why? If you live in the world you create, why not send that enemy love? Send that enemy whatever. Make a protection puppet. Yes, I'm great at defensive magic.
Yes.
Why do I want to attach them some other way? Yeah.
Well, some people, you know what? I know somebody that kind of does it,
Me too.
and
I love
it's
them. Dear friend.
and here's the thing: history repeats itself. Just keeps circling around, circling around, circling around, and you think to yourself, why can't you see it? But then I think what happens is they get blinded by the successes of their spell work, and they don't realize that they are, these lower energies are just playing you and bringing you along, and next thing you know, you're right back to where you started.
Yep.
And
And you
that's and you're sick, and it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Okay, you did dropped a great buzzword.
I did.
Yeah, and it's tag locking, because
Tag.
a lot of people, I'm surprised. I mean, this is something that I learned many, many years ago, but a lot of people don't know what that is. Could you explain to everybody what tag
Yes.
locking is?
Tag lock is something personal of you to attach to this doll. And literally like a piece of your hair, nail clippings. That's why people always like, oh, the evil witches want your hair and your nail clippings to use in magic.
I'm safe. I'm safe.
Get that beard. Again, use again mad negative positive, but for positive, it's attached. It's that attachment to you. Um, that's why I put in my breath works. Body fluids, saliva work. Breath is your pneuma, your life force. The moisture in your breath, your free will. Putting in things, making out from an old T-shirt that you love so much, and whatever that is, it just part of you is going into it. Now, if you're making for somebody for far, 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 far away, and I think they should know you're making it, if they're going and all that, and you don't have any of their hair or fingernails or saliva, then you could put, again, you could use sigils and symbols and astrological signs and write their name and create perhaps a sigil for them. There's ways around it when you can't.
What about photographs?
Photographs are brilliant. Yes, photographs are definitely attachment, a nice tag lock to anything.
That a lot of times people always think of the past without looking at the future. I was taught by a lady a Santeria priestess, about going to the dollar store and using a cheap little teddy bear. And you can also use that as a substitute. Now, when we talk about like healing, or in your case, putting the pin in the doll in order to cure your headache, this is what we refer to in spiritualist terms as the etheric double.
Is it?
And that's what we use as the etheric double. So in essence, what you're doing is the exact same thing. We would go and say, okay, I'm putting this pain into the etheric double. I'm doing this to alleviate this physical pain I have. You're doing the same thing with your poppet.
I love
think that. I mean, again, when I was reading the book, when you guys sent me the advanced copy, when Llewellyn sent me the advanced copy, I was just dumbfounded, because this is great. Everything in this book is so common sense, and it's so basic for everybody. And you don't have to be a grand wizard to understand it, and that's what I love. But Patti, you're a great communicator, so that makes all the difference in the world, kiddo. That makes all the difference in the world. Now, people want to always know about voodoo dolls. That's a huge thing, voodoo dolls. So could you just explain to people the differences between the Poppets and voodoo dolls, which it really isn't a lot, but
there's not a lot of difference really. But again, it's just kind of different words and different practices. Like a voodoo doll, you're doing voodoo magic, and you're probably a hoodoo practitioner. Hoodoo, or the religion of it, and voodoo is the doll. I think you could do a lot of the same things actually with them. And I'm not an expert on voodoo dolls. That's why there's not a lot about them in my book. I mean, we talk a little bit, but they have a look about them, but just like, I don't know. You might know more than I on comparing it to what for voodoo dolls. Because
let me just let me just show you something here.
Yeah,
these are not my best one. I have a 1940s New Orleans voodoo doll, but I have to keep it behind glass, so I couldn't photograph it because it's made out of like a paper, and it's starting to get very fragile. But this is something that you can see. You can see the one in the back. That is one from the 50s, and it was put on I think a onesie, and stuffed, and the face is of a commercial doll. It's cut in half, and then the rest of the head is filled out, and then it's filled up. Now, this doll, when I received it, it said that this doll was made specifically to help children feel better. So but it's like, and people are like, it looks like kind of like Frankenstein a little bit if I pull it out, but that's it. It really is great. Now the one in front of it was made for me by a local practitioner, and that one is that one is made for spite. That was definitely made for spite, and it's a poppet, yet it is something that is specifically honed for one reason.
For home for one reason. Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like, well, this is why I don't really collect a lot of the voodoo dolls per se, but the poppets have such a wide range of usage. People
Yeah.
don't get that because, again, uh, I mean, what would you suggest if somebody was making a poppet and they wanted to, let's say, improve their let I don't I always hate relationship questions. When people come up to me for readings, they're all, am I gonna get married? And I'm thinking to myself, honey, if you're not married yet, let's not worry about it right now. But uh they want to improve themselves. They want to be able to, let's say, find a better job or better employment and start going up a ladder. What type when you would create a poppet for them, what would you include?
I would include again. I I would want to include stuffing that is their best them, if that makes
Hmm.
sense. If
Yes.
how
Yes.
their how they see themselves or how they want to see themselves,
Yes.
their best self. And if anybody was making one puppet, here, let me okay, 1 second. You can see how non artsy craftsy I am, sir.
Oh, I'm terrible at puppets. Believe me, I am.
This is my Patty puppet. It's falling apart now because I was trying to dig in for somebody. It's got my name. I'm a drunken 6-year-old when it comes to doll making. You can get fancier ones and do things traditional. My what I think every my thing is everybody should have a one them puppet. This is my puppet. So love and money, and maybe one day if I'm going, wow, I need more money or something, I would do a little money spell with the puppet, or I'd make a nice little green money vest. I'd put a green money tie on the puppet, or do something. I'm going to put in some nice green stones within that. I'm going to make a little stone necklace from one of my
Hmm.
bracelets or something. Now if there's healing, something's going on, I'm going to take this. It's just, again, this, like whatever you called it, the etheric double. I love that in a puppet. If and I would have that. But if somebody um and then you could keep it on your altar or someplace safe that ever you're doing. I like people to do ritual though. So this is one of my very fancy paper puppets. You could make that in 3 seconds. You put herbs in their head, you know, you tie little biodegradable strings here. This actually, I just put some tape on, which so I wouldn't put it in the water or anything like that. But I would have somebody, because again, with spell working, mind, body, spirit, the creation working dispatch, I'd want them to take ritual and do something with their puppet, like put it someplace that it's going to give that career for them, that health for themselves.
Yes.
Talk to it, do something that they're changing their mindset, because as soon as they change their belief and mindset, they change it. So that's why it's good that they look like people-ish to me over everything else out there. So again, money, just like with any kind of craft, if we're looking at riches and money, we go with greens and golds. Love, we go with reds and pinks or golds, whatever it means to you. Just because pink means love to most people and red means passion to most people, and that's what the book says on candle. If purple means love to you, I'd say do purple. Does that
See, a
make
lot
sense?
of times, I learned that, excuse me, I learned that a long time ago because uh, when I was a kid, I could see aura objectively through my eyes, and it was different than what the books were going and teaching you at the time. So I always went, well, whatever it means to you, whatever color means such and such to you, and that's what's important. I got to show you somebody.
Okay.
Somebody is kind of, I think somebody wants me to show you my favorite traveling companion.
Oh yes, please.
And Sadie is sitting in the chair, and Sadie comes from the Burgeon House, the haunted Burgeon House in Burgeon, New York. And the owner has no idea where she came from, but her grandkids, it bothered her grandkids. And when paranormal investigators would come in, and they would put the recording in front of it, they used to get a lot of FUs and swearing. So a friend of mine, Dan, when we were filming out there, said, "Oh, don't get rid of it. Give it to Tim. Tim will take it." I said, "Fine." So I grabbed it. And first thing I did, of course, I put it in my car, seat belted it in. So 2:00 in the morning, I'm going down these farm roads with with the doll there. I look over and the thing, I must have seat belted it in a certain way and it slipped. So it looked like it was looking at me. And I remember saying, "You make a sound, I'm throwing you out that window," and it's so funny because well, I think, it's so funny. It's because she, when I ran into Kathy, the owner of the Virgin House, a few years later, she goes, "Well, how's Sadie doing? Has Sadie ever given you any problems?" I said, "Absolutely none." She goes, "Really? No?" I said, "No." I said, "Let me tell you why. Because for years, every place I ever went, like I would set up a display of haunted objects or whatever, Sadie came with me. Sadie has gone more places than my wife has gone with me." And I was crossing the Canadian border. I was going to some place, I think maybe Flint, Michigan or whatever. And I had her sitting there sticking out of a backpack. And as I crawl up through customs, the gentleman at customs says, "Do you have anything to declare?" I said, "Well, yeah, blah, blah, blah." I'm telling him what I'm doing. And he goes, "Well, what are you talking about?" I said, "Haunted objects." He says, "You have any haunted objects in this car?" I said, "Well, there's a big trunk in the back." I said, "And the doll here," said, "that's one of my haunted objects." I said, "She's my navigator." The guy said, "Have a nice day." That set me through. But it's so funny because I think that it was in that environment, not to say that anything is negative there, but it was in that environment that maybe it felt unloved. Whatever is attached to it maybe felt unloved. And when I got it, I was like, "Oh, I love this." I got her a little chair and everything, And again, I've taken her almost everywhere.
It's
So
that
I think,
respect thing. Yeah.
I think it is. Now, final question for you.
Okay.
What precautions do you suggest to be done when you're making a poppet?
Know that all the poppet starts the second you think about it, that you're making it. Your mindset is everything. Your intention is everything. So set up sacred space, even if it's your kitchen table that you give your kid oatmeal on 5 minutes ago. Now it's your sacred space altar for creating something good. Everything that goes into it, all the thought. Don't be half on the phone doing whatever. Don't do whatever, because that's the power of it. The power is that if you're sewing little edges of the puppet, you want sweat running down your bead, that it's your passion. That's going to be a powerful puppet. So the precautions are Instagram, mom calling, all that. Don't go there. If you have to wait till 3 a.m. to do it, wait till 3 a.m. and do it.
It's the proper way. Proper way. I love it. I absolutely love it. Patti, tell everybody what you're doing. I watched. Well, first off,
okay,
buy Patti's book. Buy
Dollcraft.
it. Buy it. I'm taking names. If you don't buy this book, I'll have your name. Anyway, Patti, tell everybody where you're going to be and what's going on in the world of Patti Negri.
I am going to be this month. I have one more trip, and it is called Creep It Real Festival at the Doss House in Pennsylvania. I've never been there. I hear it's great. So I'm going to be there the weekend of June 21st. And then I'm taking a couple months off for summer to rest, relax, and refresh. Hint, hint, nod, nod, say no more, but I'll look fabulous at the end. And then I'm doing this little interesting, I don't know what it is yet, an opera house event in Ohio in August. I'm doing Maine paranormal, paranormal and horror con, which I think is going to be pretty big early September. I'm doing Rock Island Roadhouse in October. I'm doing a bunch of things in October. I can't even, but if they go to pattinegri.com, they can see my whole list of what I'm doing. Pattinegri.com, you can get to my legitimate Facebook, of which I can't go on Facebook, but I can post on it on Patti Negri Psychic Medium, my Instagram, my TikTok, all those places. You could also get my book, this book, and my original Old World Magic for the Modern World. for that. Yes, yes. Thank you. He's my Vanna White. He's my hand model. Um, and you can also find out about Paraflix, my streaming network. If you've already seen everything on Travel Channel, Discovery, and Sci-Fi, we have a whole other thing of shows for you. Great shows with great people, podcast, horror, spirituality, of course, lots and lots of paranormal. And my school, University of Magic, has my very, very affordable, literally $20 or less a class where you're, small little tiny Zoom links, learning mediumship, psychic development, spell casting. And I have teachers. I gotta get you there, Tim. I just do. But I do. You're not so busy these days, right? We have
I've
a new,
slowed down. I've slowed down. I may be able to go and
even
just
a
have a
once in
little
a
fun.
while class, something.
Well,
But it's
maybe,
all on Zoom. I have a new teacher in Italy. Now that I've known him 10 years, and now his English is good enough. He teaches Italian magic,
wow.
strega. I have a guy.
Strega, yes.
I have a guy in Brazil teaching Brazilian magic. I have New Agers, Reiki, astrology, all sorts of things. And I won't let a teacher say this is the truth. They say this is a truth or this is my truth. So we can't even call us a cult because we're all different. So it's like I teach on Tuesday, so come check out my classes Tuesdays. If anybody wants to say, I'll slip you in for a sample class. Say Tim Shaw. I'll slip you in for a sample class.
Finally dropping my name will get you somewhere.
Yeah,
Finally.
it gets you free class. My partner Sebastian teaches his vampire magic on Wednesday nights. So we're across the board, all things weird, but magical
Fantastic.
and positive. So that's
Patti,
where.
Patti, thank you so much. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's an honor to have you on the show. I know how busy you are, and I just, no matter what, you're always been one of my favorite people. And from the time I first met you in the Detroit airport of all places, I think that's where we met.
Yes,
Uh,
to
I,
hang.
I think I always had a great respect for you, and I always knew that you were a real person, and that you really were someone who walked the walk. And to me, that's one of the highest compliments I can give anybody. So
And
stay on the line so I can thank you properly off the air.
I will.
And
So thank you. And again, everything you said about me, I say about you. But this really is the Mutual Admiration Society. I am
yes, it is. Yes, it is. Yes, it is. And you know what?
Admiration Society.
When there's nobody better to be hanging out in the Detroit airport than Patti Negri, who is dressed all in black.
Oh.
And I am sitting there, and we're talking magic, and I see the guy across from us going like this. and he usually lasts about 5 minutes, and he gets up and he walks away from us. So it's always
so scary.
It's always interesting. Between you on one side and Dustin Perry on the other side, life is great.
Yeah. In the men's room. No, not what didn't
that's with Johnny Zaffis. let's hope we never have to worry about hail like that again. Yeah. Okay. Oh my God. I think I got verklempt. I think I got a little red on that one. Hang tight. I'll be right back.
Thank you.
Guys, that was Patti Negri and her book, Dollcraft. Pick it up. It's a phenomenal book. I recommend it. I learned a lot from it. I know you'll learn a lot from it. But also, guys, let's just hang out. Let's be real. Let's go and be kind to each other. Let's kind of like limit the distractions and just keep moving forward. Because if you don't move forward, what's the alternatives? Guys, take care. I'll see you next week. Where else? At the Black Cat Lounge, where the elite meet, next to the dumpster transfer station, of course. Ciao, babies. Take care. See you then.